and it's going to be beautiful. You know, whenever you can see something in your mind. This is a gorgeous video, isn't it? We just give it up for this wind. It's definitely winding my hair. We're hiding in my garden right at the moment because the wind is blowing like fiercely. It is a beautiful October day here. It's crazy how hot it has been here in Missouri this fall. I've shot so many content videos for you guys, and it just didn't feel right not coming back with a hey, how you doing? Sorry, I've been MIA kind of vibes. It has been such a fun full season for my kids, and we have just thoroughly been hitting the ground running and you know, enjoying football and cheer season while it lasts. But it involves a lot on my part to make it happen, and Dave as well. Our second oldest in the house, but second oldest, just got his license yesterday, and so I feel like that's going to alleviate some of the ride pressure, which will open me up for a little bit more content creation. But it has been a really sweet season. It's been a busy season, and if I'm being transparent, I have been incredibly postpartum. And so when you put all those things together, a lot of content creation is not being made. I have quite a few videos shot. I just haven't, it just didn't feel right. You know, like if you've been postpartum and you're in like the fog of postpartum, it feels like you can't really put any words together. And so I'm like, I'm not making content just to babble on and on, although that will definitely be a thing every now and again, but I also would like it to actually make sense. So there's a bug on my shoulder. So I figured on this beautiful October day, we could pick a round of tomatoes, try to hide from all of the wind, and just chitter chatter. You want to do that? Give me my friend in the garden. Let's do it. It's crazy to me how many tomatoes I still have on the vine. I think because it has been such a hot October, it's wild that I still have like flowers setting. At this point, usually my garden is looking really puny and kind of gross, but it's not. It's still looking pretty lush. I've got a couple, obviously, tomato plants that aren't looking great. Some of them I've cut at the base because I just, we're getting ready to pull them off, and it was letting them dry off like these pear tomatoes. I chopped at the base, so that's why they're looking really terrible. But if you look over here, it's gorgeous, luscious, beautiful. This Abe Lincoln is still going strong. So yeah, I've got some pretty fruit on here still. I'm really hoping that I can still get all of this to ripen. I doubt I'm gonna get all of it to ripen. So if you've got any good green tomato recipes besides fried green tomatoes, I'm definitely gonna make some fried green tomatoes. But I have so many tomatoes left on the vine that I am a little scared they're not gonna ripen in time for me to actually use them all. So if you've got a good green tomato recipe, let me know. I just came out here a couple days ago and harvested a ton of cherries, but I'm gonna come back out here and just try to pull as many as I can because, well, you know, you gotta hold on to summer as long as you can, right? I did harvest some French breakfast radishes that I planted on my birthday back in September. They were so spicy and delicious. I've actually never had any luck with radishes because I've never planted them at the right time. Hopefully this wind isn't giving me trouble, but oh my gosh, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good out here. It smells like fall. You can obviously smell it, but there's still the sweetness of summer that's lingering due to these beautiful tomatoes still on the vine. Gorgeous, eh? So I figured we could chat. The wind is going to be crazy. If you came here for my hair, I'm so sorry. This is not the video for you. But, so I have quite a bit of content that I actually shot that I probably will do like some fun recaps of the summer. So if you're watching these in order, you're going to see this one, and then you'll see some fun recaps that come out. I'm going to probably recap the summer through the month of October, and then in November, we're going to do something really fun. I am the person that can fall prey, especially when I'm busy, to wanting to just run and grab some fast food, right? Wanting to go grab something easy. Well, number one, that's not healthy for you. And two, it's not financially smart, especially in the day and age we're in right now. So I am going to be doing homestead fast food and some holiday recipes through the month of November. So I actually have all of my tomatoes that I didn't use fresh in freezer bags in my freezer right now because I have not even had a minute to think about using them or canning them. So we're going to be canning tomatoes. I'm going to be sharing my apple butter recipe, some fun ways to make gifts for people, gearing up to the holidays. So it's going to be a fun November. You're going to want to make sure you're subscribed for that. But also, you know, it's just been I feel like a heavy spiritual space, especially for Christians right now. You know, in wake of all of the Charlie Kirk stuff and in wake of just life. I feel like the internet is so incredibly noisy right now with AI and with life being busy and chaotic. Everybody's back to school. I'm hoping you don't hear all wind. I'm sure I will rue the day in post, but oh my gosh, I have to show you this. There's just something so glorious about a cluster of cherry tomatoes that haven't ripened. They remind me of like beautiful jewelry or something. It's like they're so shiny and beautiful. Oh, I love it. Kind of hoping these actually come to fruition, but you know, here we are. I had some issues with some hornworms actually late in the season, which is kind of interesting to me. I've never actually had a lot of hornworm pressure in the fall. I've typically seen it more in the spring, summer. So I thought that was interesting. I'll show you some video right here of hornworm pressure that I found in my garden and what it kind of looks like if you've never had hornworms before. And then also here is some fun little garden nuggets that I had throughout the summer that I shot. This is so funny. I found a hornworm that had parasitic wasps or some sort of parasitic bug had laid eggs on it, and that is just a basic walking death date for this little guy. So I'm gonna show you that too. Also, here's some food for thought. Now, of course, if you're an avid gardener, you already know this, but I actually did this to show my kids. They helped me plant out my garden, and I wanted them to learn some things. We've been doing skills school with my kids. Of course, we do some book school, of course, too, but I really want to teach them life skills. And some of those life skills are, how do you grow your own food? How do things grow? I mean, this is literally a botany class. So while we were planting this row, which, let me show you. This row, I've already cut some of the tops off so it looks a little puny, but this row is all of my slicers and a marigold that decided to just live its best life towards the end of the season. These were all my slicers and like case tomatoes in this row. And so these are all indeterminate tomatoes, okay? If you don't know the difference, determinate tomatoes have a predetermined amount of fruit that they're going to give. Indeterminates will grow until the frost comes, and they put on flowers and fruit until the frost kills them. But what I did was I planted all my indeterminate tomatoes down this line, and then I have the 4 determinate tomatoes that I caged. Now these are the cages that you typically will find at your local big box store or garden center, and most people are like, oh, tomato cage your tomatoes. And with determinate tomatoes, you don't want to prune them heavily because you're basically pruning off your fruit. Well, this is what happens whenever you cage tomatoes. Tomatoes really don't want caged. I actually have put these up I don't know how many times, but tomatoes really want to bramble on the ground. And they get too heavy. So this just isn't what works for this. Get yourself some farm kids. Sneaking baller. They're best friends and they do chores. It's amazing. Okay, back to what I was saying. So this is what happens when you cage your tomatoes. One, they're too heavy. Two, they're way too big. And these things are just not made to carry the weight. Now, this is intentional. I normally wouldn't do this, but I had so many of these that I was like, whatever. Let's watch what happens. And I've gotten some fruit off of them, but honestly, a lot of it has went to the bugs because of them laying on the ground. So I highly encourage, even if you have determinate tomatoes, to use cattle panels or something to stake them up. Last year we didn't have cattle panels. Last year we had T-posts up, and I had strung some cotton thread or like cotton twine in between these, and then just slowly raised them higher and higher, and it worked really well. I got a huge tomato harvest last year. Definitely love the cattle panels more because I just feel like there's a little less maintenance and you don't have to tie up every lead. You can just weave them, although it does become a wall of tomatoes, which is honestly amazing in my opinion. But those are kind of the two ways I prefer to grow tomatoes. Now, an applicable way that I think I will definitely do this next year is I love this Goliath griller pepper plant that I grew this year. I just took a harvest off them, so I don't know if I have any. Let's see. Oh, there's one right there. They are really comparable to like an Anaheim chili. And so I'm using them to can them for like green chilies, for like soups and stews. And we call them skillets at our house. I make these skillets. They're basically like everything but the kitchen sink. Oh, that rub off. But they're basically like everything but the kitchen sink kind of vibes, whatever I have left, whatever's in harvest, etc. So that's what I like to make at our house a lot. And then you can throw some bone broth, rice with it, and it's a great way to feed a big family on a budget, but also feed their bellies well. So back to what I was trying to say. This is a perfect application of a tomato cage. So you can tomato cage a pepper, and instead of it brambling on the ground and getting hit with the mower or whatever, this would be standing upright like this and kind of leaning on that cage, but it's way less weight than what a tomato plant has, and it keeps all your fruit up off the ground. So that's kind of nice. These are amazing peppers, by the way. They're just the right amount of heat for our family. Our family, for the most part, is not a super spicy lover. I mean, I have some that are, but for the most part, most of my kids only want something, as hot as what this would be. So this is a small pepper in comparison to what they were growing. They were really, really big. They were longer than my hand. I just took a harvest in, so I'm kind of just picking the last of them because I know that this isn't going to end well for these guys. It's starting to chill at night. It was down in like the 40s for the past couple days, so I know that we're coming to an end of a basket that looks like this, and more coming into radishes and carrots and cabbage and such. So okay, this wind is wild. I'm gonna go on the other side and see if I can pick the rest of my tomatoes that are ripe without it sounding like we're in a wind tunnel. Anybody ever have like literally the chickens that always escape? It's like they have a death wish. Why are you out? What are you doing? All right, let's get this chicken back in. Because this is just her farm chores. So I'm hoping that she'll go in nice and easy because there's snaps of them. Also, let's talk about this. Look at this. It's a beautiful nasturtium. I planted these seeds forever ago, and they took off and then they died during the heat because nasturtiums don't necessarily love the heat. And then they re-sowed itself, which is kind of funny. I love these. They look like lily pads. Aren't they beautiful? Okay. Do you want to go back with your friends? What are we doing, fam? Turn off the fence. No one likes to be bazingaed. Which is typically what I like to do. Do it with usually my kids, so let's see. This was what my sunflower patch was. Everything died off. There was tons of seeds in here, so I go on. Oh, yes, Victory. Typically I like to put them over my garden in the fall. They pick through all the excess stuff and free food for them, and they do a great job tilling and cleaning up. They did the same thing just here. This is where they just were. There was not a massacre. That is just molting. My girls molt in the fall. So they're living the best lives. So where my chickens are right now is where I will plan on having my window greenhouse at some point. I want to be able to have a window greenhouse just because I really love like whimsical cottage vibes. That's my jam. And I have had a window greenhouse pinned, and I'm obsessed with them. I think they're beautiful, and I'm really excited to have one at some point in my life. The wind is winding. So whenever we sold our Kansas City house to move here on the farm, we had a beautiful one-owner home. It was built in the 80s, but it was so well kept, and you can tell that this woman that owned it before us like loved it immensely. She was super intentional about everything that she put in it. It was absolutely stunning, beautiful. So there was this door that literally wooed my heart whenever I first saw the house, and it was I was like, let's put an offer on this house over a door. Isn't that ridiculous? But it was this beautiful red antique door, and she had it inside the house, and it was the door to go down to the basement. And when we went to sell the house, I told Dave, I was like, I want to take that door with me. And our realtor was like, take the door. I'm like, oh yeah, I can take the door. So I had my husband take it off the hinges and put it out in the garage so that they didn't think that the door was included in the purchase of the home once I started showing it. And we moved it here. And that door is going to be the door to my window greenhouse. And I'm going to take it and clean it all up and bring her back to her former glory. It's like this beautiful old farmhouse door. And I love it. It's absolutely stunning. I'm going to get a screen door to go with it. And it's going to be beautiful. You know, whenever you can see something in your mind. This is a gorgeous video, isn't it? We just give it up for this wind. It's definitely winding my hair. Anyways, it's great to be back with y'all. And I hope you enjoy this kind of a recap of the summer and have fun with it. And I'll catch you back here in a couple weeks with some fresh new content that is being shot in real time. Again, you know, the whole thing that Dave says. Like, subscribe, click all the buttons. See you later.